Good morning to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Today's editorial is all about expulsion of a particular MP she belongs to Trinamool Congress, West Bengal, expulsion of that particular MP from the Lok Sabha. It's all about that. And let us start this session with the tone of the editorial. The tone of the editorial is critical and disapproving. Critical, not criticizing, and disapproving, not acceptable, taking the stand that something is not acceptable. The writer expresses strong disagreement with the expulsion of Mahua Moitra from the Lok Sabha, describing it as bad in form and substance. A clear stand taken by the editorial. Now let us see how the editorial starts. Bad precedent. There's one important word here, precedent. Precedent, part of speech, noun. An earlier event or action that is regarded as an example or guide to be considered in subsequent similar circumstances. Something happens at the beginning first, then that is taken as an example. Based on that, others take decisions. Then we say it is a precedent. Bad precedent. So here it is like not a good precedent, bad precedent on the expulsion of Trinamool Congress Member of Parliament Mahua Moitra. So this is all about, as I said, expulsion of a particular MP from the Lok Sabha. And who is that MP? Mahua Moitra. Which party does she belong to? Trinamool Congress, West Bengal. The expulsion of Mahua Moitra is ominous for parliamentary democracy. There is again an important word. This is the main idea. The the editorial takes a particular stand, says that the expulsion is not a good thing, and it is ominous for parliamentary democracy. So, what is the word ominous? Part of speech adjective. It means suggesting that something unpleasant is likely to happen, something bad is going to happen. Then we say ominous. The expulsion of Trinamool Congress Member of Parliament Mahua Moitra from the Lok Sabha by a vote, hurried voice vote on December 8th, based on a report of the Ethics Committee of the House, is bad in form and substance. Bad in two dimensions, bad in form and substance. We have another important word here, ethics. We have got all these words many a time. Ethics, part of speech, noun, the study of what is morally right and what is not. He is a man of ethics, usually we say. And what are the words you can think of? Values, virtues. It was not, however, surprising. So here it is in past. It is not present. It was not, however, surprising. That means what perhaps expected. By a 6-4 majority, including the vote of a suspended Congress MP, the committee recommended her expulsion, holding her guilty of unethical conduct, breach of privilege, and contempt of the House. We have a lot of words, important words over here. First, I'll tell the meanings of the words, then we'll go to the sentence, we'll see what exactly it means. Breach, we have got many a time, part of speech. It could be a noun, it could be a verb. As a verb, it's a regular verb. Breach, breached, breached. An act of breaking a law, promise, agreement, or relationship. But it also means a crack in a concrete structure. Privileges means rights. Privilege, part of speech, noun, it can be a verb. And a special advantage or right possessed by an individual or a particular group. Contempt of court, of the house, a strong feeling of disliking and having no respect for someone or something. Here, someone does not have respect, then we use the term contempt of the court, contempt of the house, an important word. So, what does it mean? By a 6-4 majority, including the vote of a suspended Congress MP, the committee recommended whenever you come across a compound noun, you have to be alert and recollect other important compound nouns and collective nouns. I'm sorry, collective nouns, and you have to recollect the rule. Usually, they take a singular verb, a singular pronoun, but if the sentence expresses or denotes division, they take a plural verb, a plural pronoun. Here there is no division. Committee recommended her expulsion. Why? Holding her guilty. Guilty has two different meanings. One meaning of guilty, it goes with everyday English. To feel bad about something, what you have done, you feel guilty. But in this context, it is more like a legal term. Someone who has committed crime or someone who has committed something, done something wrong. And what is the opposite word? Innocent. Her guilty of unethical conduct. Conduct means a behavior. Conduct a verb. Conduct could be adjective and could be a noun, and the meaning changes. Breach of privilege means violating exclusive rights, and contempt of the house, not respecting the house. These were charges raised by. Again, when you come across the word raise, you have to think of rise, raise. These were charges raised by a Bharatiya Janata Party MP who was in turn depending on the statement of Mrs. Moitra's estranged partner. Estranged means separated. Usually that goes with a wife or husband. We use the word separated. Earlier they were together, now separated. Then we say estranged. The committee cited, cited means what? Quoted. And it's a verb, a regular verb. The committee cited in its report, see here it has been considered singular as a singular pronoun. In its report, a precedent, something that is not good here, bad precedent, of the expulsion of 11 MPs in 2005 for a cash for query string operation by a news platform. The committee has to defend the stand. So, how did the committee defend? The committee cited in its report a precedent. Already there is a precedent. What is that? Expulsion of 11 MPs in 2005 for a cash for query sting operation. Sting operation, a secret operation usually conducted by a journalist or a journalist representing a particular channel or a particular publication by a news platform. There was video evidence that established a strong case then. If you look at that case, that expulsion, which the committee cited as a precedent, there was video evidence that established a strong case then, unlike the charges against Mrs. Moitra. In this context, there is no evidence as such, unlike an important word. Whenever we combine two clauses or two subjects using expressions like, with, together with, along with, as well as, like, unlike, any of these, the verb agrees with the first subject, unlike the charges against her. So, what exactly did she do? She shared her login credentials with businessman Darshan Hiranandani to upload parliament questions, a fact she herself admitted. This is the actual accusation. Sharing her login credentials with a particular person. Who is that person? Businessman Darshan Hiranandani. The committee concede an important word, to admit often unwillingly that something is true. Here, usually concede. Initially, you resist, you don't accept, but eventually you admit your defeat or mistake. Then we say concede. The committee conceded in its report that it had no proof of cash exchanges. There is no proof of cash exchanges, and its report called for one of the meanings demand for the need or deserve a particular action or remark or quality. But simply you can remember call for means demand for legal, intensive, institutional, and time bound investigation into that aspect. The committee admitted no proof of cash exchanges, and its report called for, demanded a legal, intensive, institutional, and time bound investigation into that aspect. Which aspect? Proof of cash exchanges. Nevertheless, however, a contrasting word, it was emphatic. It means the committee was emphatic. Emphatic means express something very strongly or emphasize, emphatic, in calling for her expulsion and even labeled the sharing of her login credentials a criminal act. The committee thought sharing the login credentials a criminal act. The links suggested between Moitra's parliament questions and the business interests of the Hiranandani group are frivolous, an important word. Frivolous means what? Not having any serious purpose or value. No purpose, no value, not something important. Then we also use the word trivial. For instance, a question on steel prices or India's trade relations with Bangladesh is of interest to numerous business groups and consumers. There is nothing to hide in this. The committee said it acknowledged the fact that several MPs share the login credentials with others, but went on to make a labored case that Mrs. Moitra had endangered national security. The committee admitted a lot of MPs share their credentials. When that is not wrong, it labored a case. Labored case, that means it went out of the way to prove that she had endangered national security. Here, one important word usually goes with wildlife. Endangered means what? To put someone or something at risk or in danger of being harmed, damaged, or destroyed. The argument that MPs have access to documents on the Parliament portal that are not in the public domain is a stretched one. Actually, they're supposed to go to the public, so it is a stretched one, means something that has been prolonged. The argument that MPs have access to documents on the Parliament portal that are not in the public domain, public field, is a stretched one. Why is it a stretched one? In fact, there is no good reason to keep draft bills secret. We don't have to keep the draft bills secret. Bill drafts are meant for public circulation, as I said. They have to go to the public. Bill drafts are meant for public circulation and debate before being brought to Parliament for discussion and voting. So there's nothing wrong if the public or a particular businessman has access to these bill drafts. That there's very little of that happening these days is a sad commentary on. That there is very little means nothing is happening of that happening these days is a sad commentary on parliamentary democracy. The report of the Ethics Committee also faced the same fate. Same fate means the same situation, same destiny, same future. The 495-page report was tabled and voted on the same day, rejecting the appeal of the opposition MPs for a more detailed discussion once members had the time to read it in detail. Imagine a 495-page report and one has to go through it. It takes a lot of time. Based on that, the opposition MPs wanted more time, but that was rejected and they took a decision on the same day. The 495-page report was tabled and voted on the same day, rejecting the appeal, a request of opposition MPs for a more detailed discussion once members had the time to read it in detail. Nothing happened. The precedent that the majority in parliament can expel an opposition member on a dubious charge. We have got the word dubious many a time. What does it mean? Doubtful. The precedent, what is the precedent here? The majority in parliament can expel an opposition member on a dubious charge is ominous. Main idea is being reiterated, not a good thing for parliamentary democracy. How does the editorial end? The expulsion of Mrs. Moitra is a case of justice, hurried and buried. Means they have done it very fast and have buried it. Now let us go to questions based on this editorial to improve your comprehension skill. Read the first one. What was Mahua Moitra? Why was Moitra expelled from the Lok Sabha? First one, unethical conduct and contempt of the House. Seems right. Cash per query sting operation? No. Sharing login credentials with businessman Darshan Hiranandani? Seems right. National security concerns. Here, actually, the main accusation sharing login credentials with businessman Hiranandani. Answer is C. What was the majority vote in the ethics committee regarding Mahua Moitra's expulsion? Here it is 6 is to 4. 6 in favor of expulsion and 4 against the idea of expulsion. 1C. Now I see your responses. Right or wrong, please respond. Question number 3. What did the committee acknowledge about the charges against Mahua Moitra? Strong evidence of cash exchanges? No. Lack of proof for cash exchanges? Yes. Direct link between her questions and business interests. Involvement of multiple Trinamool Congress members? No. What did the committee acknowledge about the charges against Mahua Moitra? Lack of proof for cash exchanges, the committee admitted. Answer is B. B is the answer. How did the editorial characterize the vote and discussion on the ethics committee's report? In-depth discussion with thorough examination, not correct. Hasty rejection of an appeal for more time. Unanimous support for Moitra's expulsion, not true. Bipartisan agreement on charges, not true. Hasty rejection. How did the editorial characterize the vote and discussion on the ethics committee's report? Hasty rejection of an appeal for more time. The opposition members wanted more time, that was rejected hastily. What precedent was cited in the editorial to compare with Mahua Moitra's expulsion? A particular precedent was cited by the committee. What is that? Expulsion of 11 MPs in 2005 seems right, hold that one. Suspension of a Congress MP, not correct. Resignation of a BJP MP, not correct. Impeachment of a Prime Minister, not correct. So, what is the answer? The committee cited a precedent, expulsion of 11 MPs in 2005. That's all about this editorial. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for joining. Have a nice day. And do remember to subscribe and share. I will provide the PDF today. At some point, I'll provide the PDF